Explain your targets. So targets are pretty simple. It has a lot to do with different time frames as well. It comes down to what time frame I'm reading the charts off of. So let's say I am looking for a buy for some reason today, right? If I were to look for a buy, what would make the most sense for a buy to be formed? Okay, well, right now our situation is the daily closed bearish below this range here, right? We close below here, and your next support is down here, which this means now that we are in this range from the first blue box to the second blue box. So what I'll do and what I'll expect the next candle to do is I'll assume that we would come up to create a top wick before coming down. So if my next area of interest to the left hand side is that top of the blue range, and that's where I'm expecting the top wick to be today, if I'm looking for buys, I'm looking for buys up until that daily resistance, because I understand that higher time frame must print a top wick before coming down, so I can use that as my advantage point. So I'll say, okay, cool, before price drops down to on the daily, likely you're going to come up to create a top wick. So if I were to be in a buy on a smaller time frame, then I would look to take profit at this resistance area. Understand that this resistance area could be a good area of interest to reject off of. So yeah, I'll put my TP there on a smaller time frame. So let's say this is a resistance over here. I'll drop down to a smaller time frame. I'll say, okay, cool, if I'm looking for buys today, I would not take buys just yet. However, I would market this up as a resistance. I'll mark this up as a support. I'll wait for a bottom wick to be formed. So I'll wait for something like this to be formed. If you can break the lows at 1934, great. And then once you close above the range, I can take buys up like this. So I can then anticipate buys within this range here on the count flip once you create a top wick, or once you close above and you get a bottom wick here. So your entry levels could be like either on the flip here, or the lows here. But you need to form this bottom wick first to identify those buys up. And then my target again will be the resistance up here at 1948, which is that daily top wick area to drive. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this were to happen on Monday or Sunday. Yes, it will be recorded. I'm sure, also going back to the prop firm question as well, like I'm sure you can pass funded trading the way we trade. Obviously there's been a lot of traders who pass prop firms, right? It just comes down to what you risk per trade, like what percentage you're risking, and some challenges don't even have drawdown limits anymore, so that might be a plus too.